Hey everyone, and welcome to another Marks & Crafts figurine review. Today we're going to be reviewing quite possibly the biggest thing I've ever reviewed. This is the MENG Studios Evangelion Unit 1, and it, as you can see, is a gigantic model kit, and it's just incredible. There's so much to say about this, and so, well, I guess we'll just get right into it. Now, in order to talk about the kit properly, I put her into a crouching pose so she can fit in frame, and we can talk about Unit 1 properly. So, this is from MENG Studios, who, to my knowledge, have been around for a while, building a lot of different model kits, mainly vehicles and things like that. I think they also do some terrain stuff and buildings, but this is, I believe, their first time ever tackling an anime model, as well as the first time tackling a humanoid model. So it's a really, really big deal. And I was pretty unsure of it at first, but after I saw the actual scale that we were dealing with and that it had a full LED feature as well, I pretty much couldn't pass it up. And it's way, way bigger than I thought it would be, and an incredible first anime model from this studio who I guess have been building models for an incredibly long time and therefore know what they're doing. And the color separation, part separation on this is absolutely incredible. There are some very, very, very slight color correcting stickers, and we'll go over those, but I haven't applied any of them, and I doubt you would notice unless I told you. But I would say that this model is like 98% color accurate. It's just so incredible. But anyway, for this review, we'll be going through the figure's paint, sculpt, posability, any gimmicks it has, any issues I have, and thoughts, and final thoughts and general thoughts on the figure itself. So, first thing, the paint on this is incredible. They are mostly plated painted parts, which is a big deal when it comes to model kits. They cost a lot more to do things like that, and I understood that going in. And I wasn't expecting it to be so huge, as well as plated and painted. So all of the purple you see, it's not molded in that color, it's actually painted like that, which is very, very cool. Normally you wouldn't get anything like that. It'd be a much more plasticky finish and a much more noticeably manufactured color. But pretty much everything is painted on this, which is amazing. I think the only parts that aren't are like the orange, the reds. I think the greens are actually molded in that color, but like the metallic gunmetal, I think the blacks are molded in that as well. But all of the purple is painted, which is so, so cool. The horn actually comes as a separate piece, so there's no nub marks or anything like that. Pretty much the entirety of this kit is undergated, so you won't see any nub marks except for one very, very vital part, which we'll get to when we get to it. But the general main model, the painting is absolutely stunning for a model kit like this. One thing that I wish they did, and it's not immediately obvious because I've got the LEDs on, but these eyes aren't painted at all, and it's a little bit of a concern when the lights are off because the figure looks a bit dead. But that's pretty much the only gripe that I have in terms of paint. If we're going to say color accuracy while we're here, the other thing is the teeth on the kit are not painted. That's not really that much of a concern, and you don't see them that much. It's, like 5 minutes of work if you wanted to paint it up, and it's super easy if you did it during the build. But for me, if I'm doing it after the build, it's going to be way harder. But anyway, it's not a major concern, and that's pretty easy to fix. The other color correcting, not accurate part, are one of the accessories, and it is the progressive knives. The handle here is meant to be the same green as the rest of the kit. They just didn't want to do it, which I completely understand. And they give you water slides to fix that. And here is the sheet of water slides. I haven't opened them up and I haven't applied them. They are very similar to RG style decals, but they are all water slides. There is one for the plug, which is very, very cool, and I'm glad it's a water slide so it won't interfere with anything and it won't peel over time. But yeah, just very slight color correcting stickers, just a little bit of detail, nothing crazy. Now let's talk about the actual sculpt and proportions and everything about this. This is an incredibly screen accurate rebuild Evangelion Unit 1. I can't see any real liberties that were taken with the design at all, like the real grade Evas took massive liberties with the design. This one is pretty much as movie accurate as I can tell. They've captured all the essential detail. The body's slim, the arms are long, the legs are lanky. The body even sort of segments in the right ways, and you can see the black torso underneath. It's fairly bulky, even though it is quite slender. It's kind of hard to describe. You can also tell in the head sculpt how accurate it is to the show and movies. I wish that the mouth closed just a little bit more, but I think it's fine. I also think it's the way that I've got it posed at the moment. But you can see how nice that head looks. You can see how good the arms look. And the only thing, the sculpt is a little easy to break, but you just got to bend it at both arms to keep it looking right. And that's where some of the water slides would go. These are all separated parts, which is so cool. One of the problems with that is putting together these hands, because those little orange plugs are so annoying to do with every single hand. But yeah, you can see how cool it is. The pylons look great. On the back of the figure, the back looks incredible. We'll go into more detail about anything that goes on here later. The part separation on the foot is incredible. These are all different parts. It looks so cool. You can see the legs are so accurate. The seams are also pretty well hidden for the most part, so everything goes together quite nicely, and because it's undergated, you can get a pretty clean fit. You can open up the chest just a little bit to see those, and you probably noticed that there's the big glowing orb in the center of Unit 1's chest, and normally that's covered up by this part, but I really like the gimmick of the glowing chest part, so I've left it. Especially for this review, because it's a bit of a shame. It's got 2 LEDs, and if you cover it up, you don't see it. And while we're on the topic of gimmicks, so there's the chest piece, the opening mouth, revealing teeth. You can open up the pylons to store the progressive knives, and the progressive knives aren't swappable pieces. It's just an actual transformation, and you basically just slot it in and then close it up, and then when you want it, just open it up again. So that's cool. We've got actual weapon storage. The main gimmick that I love to bits in this is you can open up the cockpit. So you slide it out like that, flip this part up here. This part likes to come loose, but it should be fine. And then we've got an actual entry plug. And it doesn't look like much right now because I haven't put the water slides on it, but this hides an incredible feature, which is that it is the on and off switch for the LED feature. It's a little hard to reach in, so I've got tweezers to get in there. Just close it back up again. And you can see the LEDs are now off, and you can see how dead the eyes look on the model, which is a bit of a shame. But it's such a cool gimmick. And the batteries are actually pretty easily replaceable. You just need to pop off this part of the back, which comes off pretty easily, and then that's a direct access port into the batteries. It takes LR44 batteries, so pretty easy to find button batteries. And then the other gimmicks come in the form of the weapons as well. So we've got the pallet rifle, which is incredibly well done. It's only a few pieces, but it's brilliantly designed. And it's got a spring-loaded trigger. It doesn't need that. I don't know why it has that, but it's cool. And then the other gimmick is on the massive Gatling gun, the gun actually rotates, which is pretty cool. One more thing, we've got the umbilical cable, which is a cool fit. You just need to line up the plugs. It was a bit of an annoying build, but pretty good once it's done. So you just line it up and then it plugs in and then it completes the look. Unfortunately, the cable has nowhere to go. I suppose you could do something with the sold separately EVA platform, but that doesn't really matter. And then you pull it off, and mine always takes the back with it, which is fine because then it gets you access into the batteries. Next up, we'll go through the posability, and this will most likely be just my off-camera audio. But basically, you've got a ball joint at the head. The head is connected through a wire for the LED, so don't go nuts on it if you've got it. The neck cannot move very much, unfortunately, which sucks a little bit, but you know, take a compromise, it's okay. You can shift just a little bit down, but it's quite tight. The arms can rotate full 360. They can move out that far, and with the rotation you can get a lot more out of it, so it's pretty good. The pylons can shift out of the way, they're on a ball joint. The shoulders can move in and out just a little bit, nothing too crazy. The body is segmented in multiple ways, so you can bend pretty far and okay back. The hips are a bit loose, kind of like the RG, so if you don't pose it right, the body just collapses like that. But I think you can lock them in place. I can't really remember how, but they can kick out that far and back that far. They're just slightly blocked by the way the hips are structured. They can spread that far, which kind of sucks, but if you rotate it, you can get a lot more out of the EVA. The knees can bend like that. This can bend, which is good for crouching poses. Oop, and that just popped off. This little ankle bit can rotate, the foot can bend, and the foot can pivot, but not very well. And the arm is double jointed, so it can go that far, and the wrist is on a rotating hinge joint, so you can work it like a ball joint. Now, accessories wise, the Unit 1 is absolutely it's armed to the teeth. Yeah. Practically anything you could want out of a Unit 1 kit you've got. You've got the pallet rifle like I showed, the Gatling gun. You've got the Lance of Cassius, I believe. You get 2 progressive knives and an absolute crazy assortment of hands. Most of them are duplicates, but there are a few with very individual purposes, which isn't super clear. It's all just variations on slightly dynamic poses. There are some crazy dynamic hands that would be great with like an AT field or something like that. But if we're talking about the hands, we'll get to something that I don't like about this kit, which is, so let's grab one of the hands as an example. You can see this ugly nub mark here. All of the hands come on with little little runner chunks with them, which is unfortunate because as these are painted parts, they leave pretty obvious nubs. And you can see just the plastic underneath. Thankfully it is fairly color matched, but you just can't get rid of these nubs in any easy way. But thankfully the hands are a bit flexible, so it's easy to fit weapons in and things like that. Well, I've got the Unit 1 in sort of a tamed crouching pose. I think I'll do an incredibly quick size comparison just so you can get another sense of scale for how big this is. Here is the HG aerial Gundam from The Witch from Mercury right next to it, and that's the same size as any other HG Gundam and any Figma or 1/12 scale figure. You can see it's absolutely dwarfed, and this EVA is crouching at half its height. If I put the pallet rifle next to them, you can see just how ridiculously huge all of this is. It's absolutely incredible. Like, this lance can't even fit in frame. I mean, the lance is almost as tall as the Eva itself. It might actually be as tall. But yeah, it's just ridiculous. Now, there are a couple more issues that I have with the kit besides the nub marks on the hands. As you may have noticed throughout the review, this is very top heavy, and the joints are good, but you need to be careful with it because sometimes it can't hold a pose. It doesn't come with a base, which makes it so hard to get really good action poses out of this one. They all need to be pretty standard. There is a sold separately base coming with the Unit 2 release, so there's that to look forward to. And oh, there we go, that's my point proven immediately. It needs a base, it really does. Yeah, I don't like how you have to cover up. Well, you don't have to cover up, but to do the base form Evangelion, the panel to take out for the glowing chest is a little hard to remove. You need to take apart a little bit of the kit to get to it. It's a bit of a shame that half of the LEDs get covered up when you do things like that. Assembling the LEDs was easy, but also a bit scary. I think one of the screws didn't fit at all, so there were a few issues. I think that's mainly because it was a fully painted kit, and so the paint sort of blocked the screw just a little bit. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Otherwise, a really, really good kit. It's just got a few things holding it back. The arsenal that you get in it is fantastic. It's absolutely destroys the real grade in terms of like impressiveness. But you are paying a lot for this kit. It's so much better than the PG Eva that came out many, many years ago. And it's roughly in the same scale as that, really. It's a PG. This is basically the PG equivalent for Evangelion. And it's incredible. If you want to make any other Evangelion figure that you've ever gotten put to shame, absolutely grab this. The scale is ridiculous. I've got the real grades, the Kotobukias, and things like that, and this is just in a whole nother realm of its own. But yeah, in terms of the first one from MENG that I've ever built, really good. I really, really enjoyed that. I'm scared about the future of these because they've done Unit 2 now, and if we do 0 as well as other Evas, then I'm pretty much obliged to get them at this point. And if they get a little more inventive with, say, how the LEDs work, like I know Unit 2 has got some in one of the weapons, which is crazy. If we get more, then I'm really, really firmly on board. If we get Unit 6 with an actual halo that glows, it'll blow my mind. If we get an AT field that lights up through like LEDs in the hands or something, that'd be insane. But yeah, it's an incredible kit, really crazy. Just be ready because it will hurt your wallet immensely. But yeah, I really, really like this. It's definitely the definitive Evangelion kit. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed that video, and I will see you all next time.